4K streams, you're going to want at least 20.
Interesting. Well, at least that worked. Yep, still working. Nice, nice. Right, so it's finally working, hopefully. Hopefully this is working. Right. Good. So start. This is Zza, and due to the recent issue. So no, I haven't. I'm not sure if you guys heard of it, but in recent years, or let's just say in recent years, because of how Bandai is lacking in the manufacturing capacity, a lot of their parts, I suppose they're trying to rush deadlines and all that. So a lot of parts are actually dropping off from these runners, even before packing into the bags. So it turns out that a lot of these parts are already missing in the bag, and you know how hard is it that you can actually get a replacement on for jumper parts in general outside Japan. It is much harder, so it's much better to check it before you build it, essentially. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And these are some of the big green parts, little red bits, the neon color stickers. I don't really do a lot. I'm not really digging that neon look. I like from the original Zssa, but considering it's P Bandai and it's extremely hard to get, most people just jump right into it as soon as it is out. It's too hard to get. So this is what I was recited to, and this will be Zssa. There's quite a few scratches around, but I mean, in a sense, these are kind of they're kind of permanent at this point, so might as well just do it. Hello, new viewer. Hope you're having a good day. Where are you from? With all these Zssa, I've got this Zssa a while ago, back when I think it was a month ago where they got reissued, and actually a month ago I recall as well that the Zssa, the Zeta Zssa also got reissued as well. Unfortunately, I didn't really get that, which I really wanted to get the PV version or the double Zeta version. So unfortunately, you can't really get a lot of that. And that's that. I'll use the white boxes here. So, HGUC Zssa. I'll keep the bags. So that's how I do it. We'll just drop that. You know what? Scratches ain't nothing. That's fine. As long as there are no missing parts, you'd be mostly fine. Which was the case with me with Load, unfortunately, where the whole chest piece is missing. And since I've opened my bag, they're like, "Oh, mate, like your bag isn't sealed." Like, by bag, I mean like this. Bag isn't sealed, so you're not gonna get any replacement. You need to have a part. So you need to get a picture that is a part armor. That is not you need to get your runner in your bag without the bag being ripped open, and then it is off. Like you need to check your parts while they're in the bag, and if there are any missing part, you then have to report it. The issue is you can't really know, especially with consider multiple runners in the same bag, it is extremely hard to notice in any way. So, like, and that's just, which is hard in some way. And luckily, there I don't think at the moment that I have any missing parts, so that is quite lucky. I have a whole piece that is on load that is actually gone. Quite unfortunately, considering that it's not something that you can hide. It's literally the chess piece. I actually have load here, and like um, this chess piece, this white part here, this big part here is completely gone missing. So it's not just a single part that you can even 3D print or anything. That is, I mean, you can, but that's a complicated part, and I would much rather to mold it. What's the right term? Anyway, yeah, that the load dynamism, the whole other thing that we're gonna do another day. Oh no, another day if you guys wanted to. So regardless, is let's go. Speaking of, and regarding the title speedrun, why would that be a speedrun then? The speedrun the speedrun thingy is just that I don't really have a lot of time in terms of actually doing Gunpla. Um, at the stage of my life, basically. So what I can only do is I can only just put it on together. And question instead of just putting it together, I'm gonna put it together fast, or else, well, yeah, basically that. Which is a run a, which is run a. This is interesting. Right there we go. This is a. I'll just prop it up. Less damage to less scratches. In fact, there's a lot of people here. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to my speed run, which is not really a speed run, of course. I mean, I believe there are people doing actual speed runs of Gunpla. I think it might be. I'm not entirely sure, but or not. But my type of speed run is just like that. I'm gonna build it. It's done. I will be, all the panel lining and all that. Those will be dealt with later, much later on, not now. So that's hence speedrun. And yes, I do use God Hand. My God Hand is a little worn, as you can see. If you can see it here, yeah, there's a bit of a stretch, stretched bit. Just to call it because I think because it's if you're if you're gonna is sharp enough, there shouldn't be any white edges, which is essentially stress marks. Mine has a bit of stress mark because it is quite worn, partly due to my it's a learning curve of learning how to use a God hand. At the same time, it is just that sometimes I got lazy and kind of damaged it without mixing. So that's just both. It's mostly on my part though. I mean, for people that are, doing their beauty, like what when they do, for people that are just for people that actually sand their pods, I don't think they particularly really needs God hand. That's just fine. Like it's not really it's not essential in a sense because most of what God hand does mostly is just clearing out the parts out, clearing out gates that are just trying to with the lowest stress loss as lowest or damage to the part as possible, trying to give out like similar color shade. So you would know when it's damaged because you would see all those white stress parts like they do, and your typical these kind of nippers. Yeah, and you can see here that it is decently stressed. Probably like how I am on the screen right now. If it focuses, that is just right. It is focusing. Yeah, that this is yeah. Uh, when I do that, I usually do these kind of stuff as well. I usually cut a bit so that when it's easy for me to customize later on. Well, instead of customizing, it's mostly just for recoloring purposes. Um, which helps a lot, in fact, when you're dealing with a large part like these. So if you're taking it apart, it is still stiff enough when it's decent, but it's not. You can still remove it and do ore sort with it, and technically you don't really need to deal with a lot. This chungus part here, and of course PC joints. The one of the best part of this is that I think it's one of the smallest PC part at the moment for Bandai to do, at least I think. Um, and the reason why it's the best is that I wouldn't say now I wouldn't say PC is. I know how like a lot of people said that PC is these PE parts PC parts polycaps are not exactly they can lose all the time and all that. In IMO, they don't really if you don't play too much. So I guess technically it does get loosened, but at the same time, it depends on where you're using it at. Like compared to like the normal KPS that Bandai uses at the moment, those parts are really the KPSs are quite durable in a sense that it is for now because of course they've been pushing out KPS for like I don't know like a year or two, so they aren't really pushing out like that. It's been there a while, but not long enough to know the long term effect like what PC does. So what Bandai is doing recently is using KPS, which is a much softer version of PS than normal PS does, and the issue is, although they are fine for now, oh no, that is quite a decent stretch mark. But that's fine. I don't really care that much. To be fair, I try to minimize most of it, and I'm just ignoring it. Which is like, I think these are already KPS. They used to tell you what kind of plastic they're using on the runners, but I don't think they do that no more. It might be on a runner sheet. Oh no, these are just PS. Okay. KPS are. I think they're pushing it out like in 3 or 4 years ago. KPS are much softer. These like in a lot of newer Gunplas, you'll see parts like joints that are just parts on KPS parts on KPS parts. In fact, they're using KPS by this point. Not only on joints, on pretty much everything. Say like I mean, I'm using an example like a few years ago because I don't really go for all the Gunpla kits. The Bound Dog. Bound Dog is the Bound Dog is relatively recent, and especially it's they're all using KPS. They're no longer they're using a tad bit of PCs, but they're just using this which is a decent amount, I suppose. With ankle parts, leg parts, waist armor parts, and arm or something. Waist, no, the waist armor, in fact, is neck, and a few joints, random joints on their body, which is most of them, and a lot of them are already being changed into KPS. So which is quite decent. I would say, that is a stretched and stressed one. It's kind of white. You can see that this is the one. Ooh, the other one is. Okay, cool. So that's this one. I forgot that. C111. I forgot what's. Let's see, right? C111. Things like these actually like damages, technically speaking, to these to go hand. Um, I'll do it no matter what. I actually couldn't care less in a sense. I wouldn't say I couldn't care less. I just don't really care that much. Um, because honestly, these I don't really notice. I know a lot of people. Like, oh yeah, I guess the model kits and those are really out there. I don't. I would say that these are not something that I would spend all the time clearing, which is a thing. But I mean, people all have their own ways. There people have been talking a lot about how YouTubers don't really clean up their gates, just leave them on and all that. Personally, these aren't the top issue that I will be worrying about. But, but you don't have your own choice in regarding to what you should be doing. I like how they did this, which is essentially I like how they did that, which is they're just binding two parts together. It's a lot easier to manage, especially trying to reduce part counts. And by reducing part count, you also reduces gates. And what it does is that it gives it a better look. And in fact, I mean, unless you go at this like, unless you're specific trying to look at it at the side, trying to look at it sideways, you wouldn't be noticing this part. You wouldn't notice this. Whoops, where is it? You wouldn't be losing this part, just the little extra bit there. And even if you do care about this little thing here, you can still cut it. You can still cut it, and it's all the same. And they kept so that like these things you can still do it. It doesn't really matter. Like, oh, you can put it together. You can cut it off, and you can still put it back together. It's great. Banda has been doing a lot of these lately because people are and I had to satisfy both, the people that are complaining about, they're well, I wouldn't say complaining, it's just people having different preferences in the first place. There are a lot of people that wanted Gunpla to be easy to assemble. At the same time, there are people that be like, oh, it's too easy to assemble. Parts are completely cold separated. Nowadays, modelers are supposed to color everything and all that. There are different types of customer and different kinds of preferences, and so well, when they're doing these things, it's a lot better. It actually gives more options, gives more option to the user in that case, in as in the it gives a lot more choices to the customers. Just like what they did in Eva, RG Eva, I think, because I've seen the pods and what they do with the horns essentially is that they multicolored they use multicolor injection. At the same time, they also gave a choice to the people that wanted to color in, and they gave them a white horn or something so that they can cover it and color themselves. This here is one of those parts that actually damages. Whoops, hello. This part here is actually one of those parts that actually damages God hand. This is how thick it is essentially. Technically speaking, it can only go for like 3 mil, and this is marginally 3 mil at this point. So if I go to cut it, it actually damages this my God hand. I personally just go for it regardless. I use more, end bit of it, so it doesn't really hurt that much. So the beginning, or depends on how you call it, like the tip, I should say. Yeah, so it's definitely showing, but I personally, it's acceptable to me. I don't. So to cut parts so that it is easily assemblable. These are peaks that could be easily formed, and you know how thin these peaks are. They could easily be broken. And of course, sometimes you do need to choose a better place in terms of what to pay unicutting blades, because if these plates are ripped, you could put it aligned with all these other parts, which made them hard to put in. First place. Oh, I'm missing a sticker for some sort. Sorry. It's black. It's black. This is supposed to go here. Do I care? Wait. Well, no, I wouldn't say do I care. Am I gonna paint it now? No, I'm not gonna do it now. Let's start. It's eyes essentially. It's just a place for the eyes. So I'm not gonna do that. Yeah. C14. So it's chest. It's chest essentially. Let's just use new one because the other was decently laid out. I wanted to leave that over to this when I'm moving, but I suppose it's also not bad sometimes if I were to do it. So let's just put that in. This is my second god hand, in fact. Mm, not particularly. The second god hand is here. No, this is yes. Where are you? You got him. That's number two. Wait, what's the name? So, where are we at? Alright, we're at these. Let's keep cleaning up with new god hand. And technically, these are fine. You don't really need new god hand because these are just too little and too minimal. It's like even at its worst, it's not bad. Also, I thought. Also, I thought. So it isn't. Yeah. It's, at the same time, it is indeed. Will be the chest area. Chest missiles. You can also say that he is one of the earliest, if in fact is the inspiration sort of Zabanya, from Gunman 00 with these chest missiles here. So yeah, so and 00 did that as well, which is with Zabanya in the movie. That is interesting, but it is not exactly complete. Wait, how are you supposed to get it on? Well, it's technically in already, so that's interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess that works. Is it news? No, not bad. It's decent. It's just that it is a bit of a weird um, one, essentially. I thought it would be one of those swivel joints snap in behind. But it wasn't, which is interesting, but not bad. There's a peg that you can actually put it in. Say you do this, and you can also do this as well. Oops. Yeah, it got it. So this, um, I mean, but it's still not bad, honestly. Some people prefer it to go this way, considering this angle is possibly hard to make as well. Yeah, it could would be hard if they were going to do it here. We might as well just use this. In fact, if I were to do a swift join here, this part doesn't really align to the mold. That is the mold, the memory machines. How they specific ways that they mold them. It would be too hard for them to do that. So this is easy at least. Yep. Okay. Cool. Nice. So hit part was grafted, unfortunately, is here to stay, and it will be on its chest. I'm actually quite tired for some reason. I will probably be off in that when I hit an hour mark. That's just me testing out the whole streaming thing, and it's quite fun. I mean, although there aren't a lot of people, it's quite a challenge to get everything working. It is interesting, and hopefully I'll see people more. This way of cutting is more like chopsticks. I think about it. Right, so time to get this cut, this part cut off, these. So make myself a black part. It's perfect, and to be fair, if you want to color it as the double zeta version, it is not particularly hard. Most of them are, you can color mode. You can just use all of them. Correction, you can just, them with yellow, plain so. Well, pretty much, just plain yellow. That's it. It's not particularly hard. Just I prefer that one. That's the chest. I'm gonna do waist first. That's what I usually do. I'll do waist first. Instead of following the instructions that Rebel. This is just extremely dark humor. Oh, sorry, extremely heavy sadness here. I'm just being a rebel and just decide to do the waist first. And what the waist? Because the waist, it's much easier to have. The waist is much easier to handle. Although I don't think you can particularly hear me in the first place. Yeah, that's about it. Let's say, where would the chest be? That is the issue. Might have found it. Wow, that's too easy. In fact, so that's just 2-piece essentially. That is actually a 2-piece. A 2-piece waist. Yeah. All right. Cool. I guess that works. I mean, to be fair, there is not much. There is no reason that you need to make it complicated in the first place. So that would make absolute sense. Just that it's rare in all these cases. But I guess can just get more complicated year by year at this point. Especially with the HGs, they're pretty much RG back a decade ago. So, yeah, it would be normal. I'm going to use it like how I normally use it, which is how it achieved best result that I did. I was just being way too cautious back then. It just then. And it got a lot better. These parts are very better. Yeah. There we go. The whole reason why I bought it is because of these clean cuts. I mean, it's not really clean. It's just there's still no cut, but it's a lot better than the typical cut that you get. All right, by 2-piece. This is 2-piece. Just and that's done. Anything covering here? No, not really, because it's just a low joint. You don't even need a PC down here just to like strengthen the holder part. Holder. So no, I was wrong. 3-piece. There's a middle part that is just a red piece. And here we go. So that's that. That's it. Over a piece, of course. And to be fair, I should not have been putting it in because for coloring's sake, I shouldn't be putting red one in. Fortunately, I did, which what you can do, or other than pinning it through the other side, is just to do something like this. Just clean cut this thing. Clean cut it. Just trying to pin a hole somewhere here. I mean, this is not the what. This is not a recommended way of really cutting a hole. It's just I'm being too lazy and I just want to cut it this way. Would it work? Not sure. Worth trying. And if it works, it's great. Although it might have just already worked at this point. It's not the best looking version of it's not the best looking way, but I mean it's covered. It's pretty much covered at this point. So yeah. It's going in hard. I think it's already in. So it's already pushing it out, so that's cool. Just need something that pinches it in. Because I'm not pressing on that. Yeah, there we go. Problem solved. I mean, I might as well just leave it there because I might as well just use this as a point of pinning out the part out so that I can paint it in the future and be happy. Yeah. Oh. Part is pretty much covered, and no one really notices it. Unless you look really into somewhere around here, but it's not. It's not. Yeah, and that's the body. I mean, I'm not gonna do a lot after this. It's just that is what I'm doing here. But yeah, I'm not gonna do much after this. Just gonna hit an hour mark. This is an interesting experiment. I normally do, other than gunpla beating, I also do gunpla catting, just drawing gunpla in general, on Fusion 360. So I might stream that someday. It's pretty close. So let's see how that goes. Might do it. Quick, might do it, might not. We'll see how that goes. Zssa is quite an interesting view in the first place. It's not a typical Gunpla suit that gets the typical Gundam chess pieces, the typical way that Gunpla the typical way that Gundam looking machines basically. In that case, a lot of gems, a lot of Gundams parts. A lot of them are similar, rectangular. Zeon suits are a lot more interesting if you get bored out of the typical Federation suits, which is how they go. The Federation is boring. You could say that. As in the designs of the mobile suits. The MSS are definitely it's not hard. It's definitely not easy to make. And the different parts are different, and Federation suits are usually a lot more rectangular, and a lot of Gundam based MS are also in a similar design. So you'll get some people that get bored while doing too much Gundams or Gundam like machines, and they will find things like Xeon suits cool, which is in fact me here. I realized that Xeon suits are like cooler in design, not cooler, but the part is a lot cool than just the normal Super set. But I like Titan testing the most, so we'll leave that to another day. Thank you for coming. I'll see you next time.